Let's do it.
Okay. So essentially, we are going to have, we talked about some of the stuff, but we're going to have to do 11 matchups every week in order to accumulate any sort of volume to try to have some separation. So it's going to be weird, but you're going to have 11 matchups every week, and 11 is going to be on your win-loss for the week. We're not going to have ties because we'll have fractional points.
All right.
And we'll have 11 basically results every week. I'm going to try to have it set up where it randomly does it through the website. There's no guarantees that that's going to work. If it for some reason doesn't happen through the website, I will be doing it manually, and I'll be posting on Monday mornings the results of the previous week, which everyone will be able to tell, because if we can't do it through the website, everyone will basically have a TBA for the week.
Right.
And you just compare your numbers against everyone else's.
Well, yeah, I mean, couldn't you just look at the power ranking? The breakdown already does it for you.
That way, but even if like it's not going to show matchups, so you're not going to be able to see it. Basically, what it'll happen is everyone will have a TBA matchup, and so you'll be able to see everyone's accumulated point total to be able to compare yours against everyone else's.
Right.
I think it'll work though.
In that case, we'll have to see if we can like manually update standings or something. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to. It'll have to be something where you can enter in. You can actually enter in the point scores for each week. I did kind of look around at that. So if need be, I can actually enter in the point scores. But the issue is, it doesn't allow me to, like, you can't really see yet, even if you change some of the settings to how it's going to play out, because they don't have the season all set up through the website. So there isn't any real, like, for sure certainty of how it's going to look.
Okay.
But that's kind of how it's going to be. We're going to stick to 12 starts a week. We're going to stick to the same lineup stipulation, same scoring system for now. For the time being, considering we do not know how MLB is going to categorize if a player gets coronavirus, if they choose to opt out, how that's going to happen, whether they go on the IL or whether that's going to be considered a non-injury absence. For the time being, we're going to keep it as two IL spots and not necessarily do anything different, but that it will be contingent on the idea that if things drastically change or there is some different in categorization, the option is still that things may have to change.
Would that change before the season starts or during?
We're never changing after the season starts. It would be like if they come out later on of saying there's going to be like a separate designation for coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And theoretically, you may have to like have a separate spot for that or have a separate categorization, because the issue becomes if you have to keep guys on your team, on your active roster, it has keeper implications if you don't have spots. If you have whole teams, that's like a whole team's roster has to sit out because of coronavirus because they get quarantined. How is that going to affect? That's what I'm saying. Like until with some of that still being a little bit uncertain, it's hard to put it in stone.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm saying, depending on some of the designations, because if a whole team gets coronavirus and they're out for 14 days, how is that? Like if you have 3 guys on one team, how does that affect you?
Yeah.
They'll probably have to call up their whole taxi squad.
But, in terms of your fantasy roster, can you put the guys on an optional extra spot to where then you can still fill your guys? Or are you left screwed? Like how that's going to be categorized, we still don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, from some of the stuff I've read, it doesn't sound like it's an IL stint. It sounds like it's going to be a separate Corona list. Mm-hmm. And then from there's no time designation, like for like the IL, it has to be a 10-day or whatever. They're saying that they're not going to set a specific time because obviously people recover differently.
Yeah. Which is understandable that, and that's why I'm saying, like, for now we're going to keep it 2 IL spots and not have any extra classification. But if it changes where there is going to be some separate designation, we may have to open up spots or do something differently that way.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we're basically going to have, the season's going to start July 23rd, 24th. So if you pull up a calendar, you can see that we're going to end up having one super week there because we're not going to have a 3-day week, to start that Thursday or Friday.
Gotcha.
And so we'll have one super week to start it out where you'll go from the 23rd all the way till August 2nd.
Woo. That'll be fun.
And so that's going to be, basically the first week of the schedule. And we'll end up with, considering there's, I think, 7.5 weeks of the season, we'll end up with 7 matchups. So you'll end up with 77 results.
Wow.
Where we are going to count the last week, with there being a shortened season, with there being, all of that. We're not going to remove the last week of the regular season from the schedule.
Okay.
So the last week was going to count because, again, we're just trying to maximize results to try to have some separation.
Okay.
So that last week will count also. We're still going to do 4 teams make the playoffs. It's going to be best win-loss record. The tiebreaker will be total points. We're not going to need a tiebreaker after total points.
Okay.
No, you shouldn't.
And so it'll be, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Winners play. Or sorry, how did I just messed this up? We'll have 7 weeks of regular season and then 2 weeks of playoffs.
Yeah.
There's 9 weeks of
Yes. Yes, 9 weeks of baseball.
Gotcha.
So we'll have 7 weeks of regular season and then 2 weeks of playoffs. With the championship will be the actual final week of the regular season for baseball also.
Which will be new. I mean, that's something we've never done before. It'll be interesting.
All the way up to the last day of the season.
We discussed that. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be sitting guys. Whether they're in or out of it. I mean,
no, there's
just
sort of a games. Right.
Short season. Even if you're going into the playoffs, you're not really going to want to rest a guy. I mean, he's not even going to have enough reps going. As it is.
All my Oriole players, I'm going to have to drop them.
Your Orioles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Renato Nunez is going to have to go to the free agent wire.
Oh, man.
I got fucking Mancini, dude. He's out for the year. Fucking loser.
Who? Trey Mancini got cancer.
Yeah.
So, okay, anything else we got to cover, though? I don't know that anything else.
So keepers is unchanged.
In the event that the season completely gets canceled, let's say at some point in the next month, we end up not having a season at all. What we said we're going to do is essentially act like this year's keepers never happened, and next year you get to re-choose your keepers, but you have the option of choosing your guys this year the same essential way.
Without eligibility.
Yeah.
So off of this roster, though. Okay.
But no, not off of the team you drafted this year. The draft this year would become completely inconsequential.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we don't have a season this year, the draft would be completely inconsequential. We go back to keeping off of your previous rosters.
Gotcha.
And that goes. I mean, obviously, also if we play like half a season and everybody gets Rona and they cancel the rest of it, same thing. I mean.
Yeah, in the event of a fully not finished season.
Exactly.
Basically counting this season as a wash and going back to the previous year.
Gotcha.
So let's happen.
What about eligibility at positions?
That's something we did not actually talk about.
Okay.
What exactly do you mean, Pat?
How many games do you have to play this year before you're going to get eligibility at a certain position?
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, we can wait and see what CBS is going to do. We got to, almost a month.
Do you have a preference? I'm open to hearing. What is your preference? Do we change it from 8 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could go down to 5 or 4.
It does make sense to try to shorten the game limitation, considering we're having such a source.
Definitely.
I do think that there is some merit to decreasing the number of games this year, but just as a 1-year thing for this year.
And
that would have to also be then for eligibility, gaining eligibility for the next year. If we're going to shorten for this year, it's going to have to be the same thing,
right?
In terms of half the number of games to be played to be eligible for next year.
Yeah, it's usually 30. I mean, I think maybe 15 or something.
We'd have to go down to 15 if we're going to have it.
I mean, it's a 60-game season, right, for each team?
Yeah.
So, what's the
half? I wouldn't want to go less than half.
It's much less than half of the normal amount of games, but yeah, going less than half seems weird. So, I'd say whatever, yeah.
Maybe we tentatively say we're going to make it 4 and 15.
Can you change next year's eligibility, or is that a CBS default?
No, we change it. CBS is 20 actually.
We can change how many games to be eligible.
Okay.
We upped it.
Is it 30?
It's 30.
Right now it's 8 and 30. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so 4 and 15. I'm fine with that. We can.
Because pitchers doesn't matter at this point with our league.
No.
No, because you got P slots.
P sluts.
That's right. P.
So what? And we got to figure out a trade deadline too.
So we did. CBS. We said we were just going to do the default. CBS has defaulted a trade deadline as. I'd have to tell you.
Yeah.
But they defaulted a trade deadline. August something or another.
MLB's is August 31st this year.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I had seen somewhere where CBS had defaulted it to somewhere in August, which seemed reasonable.
What's the last day of the regular season?
September 27th.
20 something. Yeah, last week of September.
I mean, that seems fine. I think we can probably just use that, right?
Playoffs for us would start September 14th.
So maybe 1 to 2 weeks before playoffs is reasonable for trade deadline. So
September 1st or something like that, or
And that's August 31st.
August 31st would work. Yeah.
August 31st.
Also, the wire is going to open up the Sunday before the first game, so like 3 days before.
Okay.
July 19th.
Just arbitrarily decided that way we'll know more about. It gives you the maximum time to know which players are opting in out, if any players aren't going to be playing. We kind of talked about it and figured the more information everyone has, the fairer it is when we reach that point.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I would assume we should know by July 1st who's opting out, right?
What you think about, there are guys in the NBA that are still kind of opting out as time is going right now.
Yeah.
And saying, like, I'm not going to play because of family things and this and that.
Yeah, because MLB released their 60-man rosters today. So I don't know if that was, hey, this is who we want, or if that included opt-outs, because I didn't see any, major news, so-and-so opt out.
I'd be surprised if the players have really had enough time, given how quick this has all happened, to really had to formally make that choice.
Yeah.
That'd be my thing, is I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's been less than a week since they've agreed on a start date.
We'll see.
Well, they didn't even really agree. It just defaulted to the agreement they had from March.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking
I'm hoping this all goes smoothly and we do get a season, because it's looking like we are going to get something at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which is better than what I think we all had some fear that it was going to be nothing. And now it's just a matter of things kind of trying to smooth through the next 3 weeks and hope this second wave, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't completely overwhelm everything to the point where they decide to shut stuff down again.
What about an asterisk on the...
No, there's not going to be an asterisk.
Okay, good.
If we're having a season, there's no asterisk. We just have to treat it like a season.
Nice.
We're doing the best we can to make it, similar to a normal season, but I think we just have to. We're not going to put an asterisk or write coronavirus or anything like that.
Nice.
Yeah, somebody's going to shatter the wins record, so.
Oh,
for the record books, yeah. I mean, we didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
None of that is really, I think right now the focus has to be on other things. I don't really give a shit. If we can get a season and we can make some semblance of a meaningful season out of this and get it, everyone seems like at least we had enough games, we had enough where the good teams made it, that would be awesome.
I mean, I think maybe, every year at the draft from now on, whoever wins this year has to, chug a Corona or something.
we might have to do that.
Traditions, dude. Always coming up with traditions. I mean,
I like that.
That's not a bad idea for perpetuity. You have to
every year forever. Yeah, you got to chug a Corona. First beer you got to drink when you get to draft.
I like it.
Because you're Corona King. I like the idea of that.
That's pretty funny.
Unprecedented.
I think this is good. We really need some sports back. I'm really needing some sports. I'll take baseball, some NBA back. I will not lie. I like degeneratively have bet on ping pong. I have bet on
Oregon ping pong.
table tennis. I bet on.
That's
Because there's
good.
been like some days where I'm just bored. Like I don't have anything to keep my mental focus. Like on a weekend day where the stock market's not open, like nothing to.
That's ridiculous, man. Ping pong.
Dude, Russian table tennis, you can get feeds and watch it. There was one dude that's one arm. There's a one-armed professional table tennis player.
That's sweet.
You took the odds.
Oh, dude, I faded him today, and I won. I faded the one-armed table tennis player today.
That's ridiculous.
trying
There was some,
to think if
but
there's
again, I
anything
didn't
else.
really have much to do. I was just kind of fucking around today, and so I needed to bet on some stuff. I bet on some soccer today.
All right, I'm going to stop the feed here. And
Okay, yes, really getting off topic.
well, thanks for the board for coming up with our shortened season.
I think this is the best we can do.
I think so too. I think you guys did great.
I think that this is really reasonable, and I think it'll be good.
Sweet. All right, I'm going to pause
All right,
or
man.
end it now.